Veterans, do you know how VA claims are decided and processed? In today's video, as a former VA Raider, I am going to break down that process so you understand. Let's go ahead and get into it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that. Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. Before I get into today's video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. Also, don't forget to pick up my new book, The VA Compensation Blueprint. Now, how are claims decided? What does that process look like? Before I get into that, a word from one of my sponsors. Veterans, if you're filing a VA disability claim for a mental health condition, you know the process can be frustrating and overwhelming. Having the right evidence can make all the difference. That's where Tampa Counseling and Wellness comes in. They specialize in providing mental health DBQs and Nexus Statements, helping veterans establish direct service connection for mental health conditions or secondary service connection due to issues like tinnitus, migraines, or back problems. The team at Tampa Counseling and Wellness is passionate about supporting those who serve. They understand the VA process and are committed to helping you get the benefits you've earned. If you need expert support for your mental health claim, don't go at it alone. Contact Tampa Counseling and Wellness today. All right, everyone. I get a lot of questions from veterans about the VA overlooked this. The rater didn't use this. The decision review officer ignored this. Let me break down this particular process, the VA claims process. Now, my new book was different than the first one. I list certain scenarios. I'm filing a claim, not an actual claim, but a John Doe example claim, okay? And you can follow along as I file these conditions, what my thought process is with 38 CFRs that I'm using to help my claim be successful. And I'm going all the way through up to the high level review, okay? A lot of veterans, they just get on YouTube and watch videos, which is fine, but you still have to understand how this process works. So it all starts with the veteran, okay? You, the veteran, you have to figure out what conditions you're claiming and where do they fall under the different ways of service connection. And you have to ensure you meet that criteria. Part of that criteria is obtaining evidence like a diagnosis. So once that is done, you submit that claim. Whether you take that 526CZ, 0995, 0996, whatever it is, you can take it to public contact in the regional office. Now, as the day of this video, the government is shut down, the regional offices are closed. So no, you cannot walk into a regional office, especially during the shutdown, okay? Or you can mail it in, you can fax it in. You can also create a claim on the VA's website. You can download the 526CZ or whatever form, prescribed claim form, complete it, and submit it using the VA's quick submit. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Once you submit it, it gets to the VA. They disperse it to a particular regional office, okay? And then that's where the development starts, okay? It lands on the VSR's desk. That VSR is going to assign an EP, end product. Guess what, people? I got a video explaining EPs, okay? And that's important to know because if you decide to call the 800 number, now you can speak the VA claim language, okay? So let's just say you have veteran number one filing a claim for PTSD based on fear of hostile military terrorist activity, and they served in Iraq, okay? Then you have veteran number two, and they're filing, let's say, major depressive disorder secondary to all of their service-connected conditions, and they have an actionable and sufficient DBQ and Nexus Statement, okay? So veteran number one has never filed a claim before. This is their first claim. So guess what? The VSR has to reach out to the National Archives Center and get those military personnel and medical records. Get everything, okay? So there's that veteran's claim is going to be stuck for a few weeks, okay? Because they have to get those records, they have to be uploaded, and then they have to confirm everything. Now, this is where you can speed that up as a veteran, all right? This is a nugget. If you have your medical records from active duty, okay, and your DD-214 that shows you served in Southwest Asia, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, Afghanistan, you just done that work for them. So when I rated and something like that landed on my desk, yeah, I would still ask the VSR to go out and get those records, but guess also what I'm doing? I'm submitting that 2507 medical request in VBMS, or I'm requesting that CMP exam. I'm not waiting on those records to come back because the veteran has already given me what I initially needed. Now, I'm not saying a rater today will do that. Maybe some, okay? But what I've been hearing and seeing, probably not. So there's a lot of things that veterans can do so as to not delay their claim, okay? But let's just say the veteran didn't have those records, okay? So now they have to go out to the National Archive Center and request that information. Now we have veteran number 2, actionable and sufficient DBQ, okay? Yep, it's good to go. They're saying it's secondary to their service-connected conditions. The VSR, what the VSR should do, and a lot of them are not doing this, okay? And you all know this because you've been in this particular situation. They should send it RFD to the rating activity. RFD stands for ready for decision. Rating activity, don't worry about it. I got a video on it. I used to be part of the rating activity, okay? The rater gets it. Oh, this is good to go. Granted, and that's it. I've seen claims get rated within a week of arrival at the VA, okay? It's not that hard. What makes it hard is certain VA employees that don't know their job, they're not following the regulations, depending on what the veteran submits, okay? So let's say, okay, veteran number 1, now that information is back, you verify everything, yes, they have confirmed your stressor. Now, got to request a CMP exam. The veteran goes to the CMP exam, the doctor does the mental health provider does the exam. Hopefully the doctor says yes, okay? The exam comes back to the regional office. Now, it goes to the VSR, not the RVSR, the VSR, to make sure, yep, is there any additional development that needs to be done? And at that time, the VSR says, wait a minute, the previous VSR didn't complete the development because the veteran said they received treatment at a private facility. So now they have to send you a 4142 medical release form. You have to sign it. You send it back. Then they send it to the doctor. The doctor doesn't respond. Then they send you another letter saying there was no response from the examiner. It is your ultimate responsibility. The moral of that story is go get your records yourself. Don't let the VA do it. You do it, okay? And that scenario I just gave you is anywhere between 3 to 6 months, okay? So the veteran just extended their claim, not the VA, you did, because you said you received treatment somewhere. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But just understand when you do that, you delay your claim, not the VA, because the VA is bound to go and get those records if you put it on that particular form, all right? So it comes back, the CMP exam comes back to the VSR gets it, yes, all development is good to go. They mark it RFD, ready for decision, and they send it to the rating activity, the RVSR. The RVSR has to check everything to make sure the VSR did what they did. And that was one of the hard things for me because I never was a VSR. So not only did I need to know what the RVSR needed to do, I needed to understand, did that VSR do what they were supposed to do per the VA regulations? And it's important that you know what they're supposed to do, because if they don't do it, guess what? Now you can call a CUE. You got grounds for a higher review that you can win, all right? So let's say all that is good to go. Now it's on my desk as a rater. Yes, I can rate this. I rate it, everything is good to go, and it's off to the veteran. Now, I'm pretty sure you might have some questions. You're going to say, Dwayne, after that CMP exam, how long does it take for that exam to get back to the regional office? There's no set time frame. A lot of veterans say, well, what is the time frame? What is, give me a ballpark. I've seen it happen within 24 hours. I've seen it happen 30 days later. I even had to go out to some of these private companies and say, wait a minute, where is this exam? The veteran had this exam over a month and a half ago. And they're like, oh, we're so sorry. We forgot to send it over. It happens, okay? It just happens. But you know what? I just thought about something. If you don't hear anything, let's say it's been 30 days, call the 800 number and say, hey, can you look in VBMS to see if that CMP exam is back from QTC, LHI, Optum, whoever you went to? No, it's not. Well, you have their information, meaning the mental or medical examiner that did the CMP exam. Call their office and say, hey, I just called the VA's 800 number and they don't have the exam that I showed up for that I did with Dr. such and such on this particular date. When do you all plan on sending that over to the VA? If they try to give you some BS, hey, let me speak to your supervisor, because talking to you is like talking to voicemail. Well, I'm not talking to anybody, okay? So that's an option for you, and a nugget as well, okay? So real quick, if you are still watching, go ahead and say, Dwayne, go Army. I'm an Army guy, right? But I'm gonna give you a time or example as to when I rated the fastest case ever. I was part of a pilot program. It's called FDC Pilot Program, Fully Developed Claim Program, where veterans could walk into the office and submit their claim, and we could actually schedule, sometimes get their exams is scheduled the same day or the next day. But I had a particular veteran, Vietnam veteran. He comes in, really nice guy, never forget him, B sort of guy, flip-flops, shorts, tank top, and had a ponytail, and he always came reading a book. So he came into the office, and I think it was a service connection for coronary artery disease, okay? Then he come back a few months later, had his 526EZ and his DBQ. And I was like, oh, okay. It was all good to go. And I looked at it, and he says, I should be 30%. So I looked at it, logged into Capri to look at his VA medical progress reports. And I was like, oh, I can't give you 30%. And he was like, oh, I thought I could get 30%. I said, no, according to your MES level at the VA hospital, I have to give you 60%. And he was like, oh, I was like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get this rated today. Easy. I go back to the regional office. I get with the VSR. I give it to them. They mark it RFD. They assign an EP in product. They mark it RFD. And before I go home for the day, I rate the case. That happened all within 2 hours. Okay. And guess what the VA did? Well, it was only at the St. Petersburg regional office. I didn't know of any other FDC clinics anywhere else. But guess what management decided to do? Their bright idea. Oh, let's discontinue this because the raters that go over there, that are assigned to go and man that office only for 4 hours, it's taken away from helping us reduce the backlog. At the time, it was only 9 of us. The office was only open Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, right? For 4 hours. Sometimes I would stay over there. As long as I had a line, I'm staying over there. I don't care, And sometimes while I was there, if I didn't have anybody come in office, I would log into VBMSR and actually rate cases, okay? So I don't know why they didn't expand that or keep that going. But if you think that's something that would be beneficial, it's like these vet fests, right? Let Doug Collins know. Maybe he can bring it back, all right? So with that being said, make sure you go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. Thank you.